I remember standing in the doorway of what I thought was my house, staring at empty rooms that echoed when I said her name. Ayam? My voice bounced off bare walls where furniture had been just 2 days ago. The sofa we'd picked out together at Index gone. The television we'd watched Thai soap operas on gone. The dining table where she'd served me dinner every night, smiling as I told her about my day gone. Even the bloody curtains had been stripped from the windows, leaving just the rods hanging there like abandoned scaffolding. I walked through each room in a daze, my footsteps loud on the tile floors. The bedroom empty, except for dust outlines, showing where the bed had been. The kitchen bare counters, cupboards hanging open and hollow. The bathroom, her lotions and potions all vanished, leaving only the smell of bleach and my own reflection in the mirror, looking 10 years older than I had that morning. In my hand, I clutched my mobile phone, staring at the last message she'd sent me 3 days ago. Going to see Mama in Bararam. Back soon. Love you, husband. 3 days. In 3 days, she'd emptied our house, taken everything we'd built together, and disappeared like smoke. The neighbors, when I finally got up the nerve to ask them, said she'd loaded everything into a truck on Monday morning, with help from a man. A foreign man, new husband, one elderly Thai woman said in broken English, looking at me with something between pity and contempt. I was 65 years old. I'd worked 43 years as an electrician for the railways, saved every penny I could, divorced a wife who'd made me feel invisible for 2 decades, and come to Thailand chasing a dream of warmth and peace, and maybe just maybe being loved again. And now I stood in an empty house that legally belonged to a 33-year-old woman I'd known for 18 months, having lost 350,000 pounds and whatever remained of my ability to trust another human being. The worst part? I'd been warned. Every expat in Pattaya had warned me. You can't buy love, Mike. You can only rent it. But I'd thought I was different. I'd thought Aom was different. I'd thought our love was real. I was wrong about everything. If you've been enjoying the stories I create, please consider hitting the subscribe button. Your support is crucial for the growth of this channel and helps me dedicate time to making these videos despite my commitment to a full-time job. Thank you for being here. I'm not the sort of man who makes rash decisions. Never have been. 43 years working for the railways, first as an apprentice electrician, then as a senior maintenance engineer, taught me to be methodical, careful, deliberate. You don't work with high-voltage systems and live to retirement by being impulsive. Every wire, every connection, every repair had to be done properly, safely, by the book. That discipline bled into every part of my life. I married young 23 to a girl from Manchester named Karen who worked at the local Tesco. We had what everyone called a sensible marriage. No grand passion, no dramatic romance, just 2 working-class kids who thought they were supposed to get married, buy a house, have a normal life. We did all that. Bought a modest, semi-detached in Withington, worked our jobs, paid our mortgage, watched the telly in the evenings. But somewhere along the way, we stopped being a couple and became just flatmates. Polite flatmates who shared expenses and occasionally had awkward sex, but didn't really know each other anymore. Karen had her routines, her book club, her sister's family, her trips to the garden center. I had mine work, the pub on Fridays, watching United games on weekends. We existed in the same house but lived separate lives. We never had children. Karen couldn't something with her ovaries, the doctors said. We talked about adoption once, but neither of us pushed for it. Maybe that should have been a sign. Maybe if we'd really wanted to build a life together, we would have fought harder for a family. But we just didn't. We settled into a childless, loveless, but stable routine that lasted nearly 30 years. The divorce came in 2019, when I was 62. It wasn't dramatic. No affairs, no betrayals, no screaming rows. Just Karen saying one evening over dinner, "Mike, I don't think I love you anymore. I'm not sure I ever did." And me, after a long silence, saying, "Yeah, I know what you mean." We sold the house, split everything, 50-50, filed papers. By the time I was 63, I was single, living in a small flat near Piccadilly, and wondering what the hell I was supposed to do with the rest of my life. I'd taken early retirement from the railways. My pension wasn't huge, but it was enough. About £2,100 a month, combined with my share from the house sale and some savings I'd accumulated, I had roughly £410,000 sitting in my bank account. A decent nest egg. Enough to live comfortably in Manchester for another 20 years if I was careful. But I didn't want to live in Manchester. I didn't want gray skies and cold rain and empty flats. I didn't want to spend my final years watching telly alone, going to the pub alone, growing old alone in a city that felt like it was moving on without me. I wanted something different, something warm, something alive. I'd heard blokes at the pub talk about Thailand, about cheap living, beautiful weather, friendly people. One mate from work, Dave, had retired to Pattaya 5 years earlier and would video call from beach bars, grinning like a lottery winner, saying it was the best decision he'd ever made. 200 quid a month for a nice flat, Mike, meals for a few quid, weather's gorgeous year-round, and the women, bloody hell, mate, the women actually smile at you here. I'll admit, that last part caught my attention. Not in a seedy way, I'm not that kind of bloke, but the idea of being somewhere people were warm and friendly, where I wasn't just another invisible old man, that appealed to me. After 3 decades of Karen barely looking at me, the thought of smiles and kindness felt like oxygen. I started researching. Thailand seemed perfect for someone like me, low cost of living, good health care, easy retirement visa if you met the financial requirements. Pattaya got mixed reviews. Some said it was paradise. Others said it was full of scammers and bar girls. But there were quieter areas nearby, places like Yomtien, where expats lived normal lives away from the nightlife chaos. In June of 2022, I made my decision. I'd move to Thailand, rent a place for 6 months to try it out, and if I liked it, I'd buy a small house and settle permanently. I had the money. I had the time. I had absolutely nothing holding me back in England. Why not? I sold most of my belongings, packed 2 suitcases, and on August 1st, 2022, I flew from Manchester to Bangkok. I was 64 years old, carrying 410,000 pounds in my account, and so bloody naive it hurts to think about it now. My first 2 weeks in Pattaya were overwhelming. The heat was brutal, nothing like English summers. The humidity made everything stick to you. The noise was constant. Motorbikes, music, vendors, shouting in Thai. The nightlife was exactly what everyone had warned me about: neon signs, advertising bars with girls in bikinis, older Western men stumbling drunk with young Thai women hanging off their arms, an entire industry built around separating lonely foreigners from their money. I stayed away from all that. I'd rented a small apartment in Yomtien, a quieter beach area south of Pattaya's main strip. It was more residential Thai families, a few expat retirees, less of the chaos. I'd spend my days walking on the beach, eating at small local restaurants, trying to adjust to the heat and the culture shock. I felt desperately alone. Yes, there were other British expats around, but many of them seemed either bitter or broken divorced men drinking away their pensions, telling cynical stories about Thai women, warning newcomers to never trust them and keep your money close. It was depressing. I hadn't come halfway around the world to become that. On my 15th day in Thailand, I needed a haircut. I'd found a small barber shop near my apartment, nothing fancy, just a shop front with a couple of chairs and a Thai barber who spoke no English. I'd gotten haircuts there before by just pointing at my head and letting him do whatever he thought looked right. That morning when I walked in, there was a woman there. She was helping the barber clean up, sweeping hair, organizing products. She looked up when I entered and smiled, a genuine smile, not the professional "please come in and spend money" smile I'd gotten used to. She was pretty in an understated way, maybe early 30s, slim, with shoulder-length hair and kind eyes. "You want haircut?" she asked in decent English. "Yes, please," I said, settling into the chair. The barber got to work while the woman continued tidying up. A few minutes into the haircut, she brought me a small plastic cup of instant coffee, sweet and milky the way Thais drink it. "For you," she said. "Too hot today. Coffee help." I was surprised by the gesture. "Thank you. That's very kind." She smiled again. "My name Am. I help my friend here sometimes. You are from England?" "Yes, Manchester. How did you know?" "Your accent. I have English customer before. Manchester accent different from London." She seemed pleased with herself for identifying it. We chatted while the barber worked. Nothing deep, just small talk about how long I'd been in Thailand, what I thought of Pattaya, whether I liked Thai food. She was easy to talk to. None of the pushiness I'd encountered in tourist areas. When my haircut was done, I paid the barber and left a small tip. "You come back, Aom said as I was leaving. Next time I make you better coffee. Real coffee, not instant. I found myself smiling as I walked home. It was such a small interaction, but it had made me feel seen, acknowledged, human. I realized how starved I'd been for basic kindness. I went back to that barber shop a week later, even though I didn't really need another haircut. Aom was there again, and she remembered me. "Manchester Mike," she said, grinning. "I remember you. You want haircut again so soon?" I laughed. "Maybe just a trim, and you promised better coffee." She made me real coffee, this time brewed it herself in a small French press she kept at the shop. We talked more while the barber worked. She told me she was a hairstylist, worked at a salon in Pattaya, but helped her friend at this shop on her days off. She was from a small town in the northeast, came to Pattaya 5 years ago looking for work. "Is hard for Thai woman," she said, sitting on a stool near my chair. "Good job difficult to find. Many women here work in bar because pay is better. But I don't want that life. I want real career, real future." I respected that. She seemed grounded, practical, not interested in the easy money of Pattaya's nightlife. Over the next few weeks, I found excuses to go to the barber shop, sometimes for a haircut, sometimes just for coffee and conversation. Aom was always friendly, always seemed genuinely happy to see me. One day, she asked if I wanted to go to the night market with her. "I know good food stall," she said. "Real Thai food, not tourist price. I show you." I said yes without hesitation. That evening, we walked through Jomtien night market together, sampling food from different stalls: grilled squid, pad thai, mango sticky rice. Aom haggled with vendors in Thai, getting us better prices, laughing when I couldn't handle the spice in Sumtam. She linked her arm through mine as we walked, casually, like it was the most natural thing in the world. It felt good. Not sexual, I wasn't thinking about that. Just companionship, warmth, someone who wanted to spend time with me. After decades of Karen's cold distance, Aom's simple affection felt like sunlight. "You are very gentleman," Aom said, as we sat on a bench eating coconut ice cream. "Not like other Farang I meet. You have kind eyes." Kind eyes. No one had said anything like that to me in years. I felt something crack open in my chest, something I'd kept sealed since the divorce. Hope. Stupid, dangerous hope. Over the next month, Aom and I saw each other nearly every day. She'd finish her work at the salon and come to my apartment, or we'd meet at restaurants, or walk on the beach. She started cooking for me, bringing ingredients to my small kitchen, and making proper Thai meals, teaching me the names of spices and vegetables I'd never seen before. She made me feel young again. Not in an artificial way, she wasn't fawning or fake. She was just present. She'd listen when I talked about my life in England, my years working the railways, my failed marriage. She'd share stories about growing up poor in Eisen, about her dreams of owning her own salon someday, about missing her family but knowing she couldn't go back to village life. "I work very hard," she told me one evening as we cooked together. "Since I was young, my family have no money. I send money home every month to help my mother, my younger sister, is my responsibility. But sometimes, I am tired of being strong all the time. I want someone to take care of me for once." I understood that completely. I'd spent my life being responsible for work, for Karen, for keeping everything running smoothly, and it was exhausting. "You deserve to be taken care of," I said. She looked at me with those warm eyes. "You make me feel safe, Mike. Like I can rest. Like I don't have to be strong all the time." That night, she stayed at my apartment. We made love tender and tentative, both of us vulnerable in ways I hadn't expected. Afterwards, lying in the darkness with her head on my chest, I felt something I hadn't felt in decades. Peace, belonging, love, maybe. I knew it was fast, knew I barely knew her, but God help me, it felt real. Within 2 months, Aom had essentially moved in. She still paid rent on her own place, a small room near her salon, but most of her things ended up at my apartment. She'd cook breakfast before I woke up, tidy the flat, do laundry. She never asked for money, though I'd give her cash sometimes for groceries or her share of utilities. She'd always protest, say it was too much, that she could pay her own way. The other expats started warning me. I'd made some acquaintances at a local pub where British retirees gathered, and they'd see me with Aom and pull me aside. "Mike, mate, be careful," one Scottish bloke named Duncan told me over beers. "She's after your money. They all are. That's how it works here." "It's not like that," I insisted. Ayam has her own job. She doesn't ask me for anything. Duncan shook his head. They never do, not at first. They make you fall for them, make you trust them. Then the requests start. Family emergency, sick buffalo, house needs repair. Before you know it, you've given them everything. Sick buffalo, that's a myth. And Ayam isn't like that. They all say that, mate. Every single one of us thought our girl was different. He drained his beer. I'm not trying to be cruel. I'm trying to save you. I've seen this story 100 times. It never ends well for the Farang. I appreciated his concern, but I also thought he was wrong. These bitter expats were projecting their bad experiences onto my situation. Ayam was genuine. I could feel it. Yes, she was younger than me, 32 years younger, but that didn't mean she was a scammer. Plenty of relationships had age gaps, and she'd never once asked me for significant money. In November, 3 months after we'd met, Ayam brought up marriage. We were having dinner at my apartment. She'd made massaman curry, my favorite, when she said, "Mike, can I ask you something?" Of course. She was nervous, picking at her food. "You think about future? With me?" "Yes," I said honestly. "I think about it a lot." "What you think about?" I took her hand across the table. "I think about us building a life together. Maybe getting a proper house, something bigger than this flat. Settling down, spending our time together." Her eyes filled with tears. "Really? You really want that?" "Yes." "Ayom, I know this happened fast, but I care about you. Very much. You've made me happier than I've been in years." She squeezed my hand. "I care about you too, more than care. I love you, Mike. I love you too." She wiped her eyes, smiling through tears. "Then maybe we should get married? Make it official? In Thai culture, if man and woman live together and plan future, should be married. Show respect, show commitment. Marriage. The word hung in the air. I'd failed at marriage once already, but that was with Karen, in a relationship that had been wrong from the start. This was different. Ayom and I genuinely cared for each other. We made each other happy. Why not make it official? "Okay," I said. "Yes, let's get married." She jumped up and threw her arms around me, crying and laughing. "Really? You mean it?" "I mean it." We got married 2 weeks later at the Banglamung district office, a simple civil ceremony with just 2 witnesses we'd hired off the street for a few hundred baht. Nothing fancy, but it felt real. Ayom wore a simple white dress she'd bought at the market. I wore the best shirt I owned. When the registrar pronounced us husband and wife, Ayom kissed me with such genuine happiness that I knew I'd made the right decision. The warnings from other expats intensified after word spread about the marriage. "Jesus, Mike, you actually married her?" Duncan said, looking horrified. "After 3 months?" "Yes, and I'm happy. You've legally given her everything. You realize that? If this goes south, it won't." But Duncan wasn't done. In Thailand, if you're married, everything is communal property. The house you're thinking of buying has to be in her name because you're a foreigner. If she decides to leave, you get nothing. You're completely exposed. "I trust her," I said firmly. "She's my wife. That's what marriage is, trust." Duncan just shook his head, looking at me like I was already a corpse. "Good luck, mate. You're going to need it." But those first months of marriage were wonderful. Ayom seemed genuinely committed, talking about our future together, looking at houses we could buy, discussing her dream of opening a small salon that she could run. She still worked at the Pattaya salon, but would come home every evening with dinner and stories about her day. We'd watch TV together, walk on the beach, make love. It felt like a real marriage, not the cold coexistence I'd had with Karen, but actual partnership. Then, in January of 2023, Ayom started talking about buying a house. "Mike, I think we should buy a house," Ayom said one evening as we lay in bed. "This apartment too small for married couple. We need proper home, something we can make beautiful together." I'd been thinking the same thing. The apartment was cramped, just 1 bedroom, a tiny kitchen, barely any storage. If we were going to build a life together, we needed space. "I agree. What were you thinking?" Her face lit up. "I look already. I find perfect house in Jomtien, near beach but not tourist area. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom, small garden. Is beautiful, Mike. We could make it our home." The next day, she took me to see it. The house was in a small development about 2 kilometers from the beach, a single-story villa with tile roof, painted cream with blue trim. It had a small walled garden with space for plants, a carport, bars on the windows for security. Inside, it was basic but clean tile floors, decent-sized rooms, a kitchen that needed updating but was functional. "What do you think?" Ayam asked, watching my face anxiously. "It's nice," I said honestly. "How much are they asking?" 5 million baht. About 120,000 pounds at the exchange rate then. Not unreasonable for a decent house in a good location. "We'd have to put it in your name," I said, repeating what Duncan and others had told me. "Foreigners can't own land here." She nodded. "Yes, this is Thai law. But we are married. What is mine is yours, yes? We both own it, but papers say my name because I am Thai." It made sense legally, and we were married. In England, married couples shared property all the time. Why should Thailand be different? "Okay," I said. "Let's make an offer." We negotiated the price down to 4,500,000 baht, about 108,000 pounds. The purchase process took 6 weeks. Contracts in Thai I couldn't read, but that Ayam explained to me. Trips to the land office, transfers of money from my UK account to Ayam's Thai account so she could complete the purchase. My British lawyer friends back home would have had heart attacks if they'd known I was doing this without proper legal representation. But I trusted Ayam. She was my wife. We moved into the house in March of 2023. Those first weeks were magical. We spent our days shopping for furniture, painting walls in colors we chose together, planting flowers in the garden. Ayam quit her job at the salon, saying she wanted to focus on making our home perfect and planning her future business. I gave her 10,000 pounds, about 360,000 baht for furniture and renovations, and she stretched every pound, finding deals at markets, negotiating with contractors, making our house beautiful on a budget. I felt proud. This was what I'd wanted: a home, a partner, a purpose. We'd host small dinners with expat couples, and everyone would compliment how lovely the house looked, how happy Ayam and I seemed. For the first time since arriving in Thailand, I felt like I belonged, but then the requests started. Small at first, so small I barely noticed. "Mike, my mother is sick. She needs medicine. Can you send maybe 10,000 baht to help?" Of course. I transferred the money immediately. A week later, "My sister's son needs school uniform. Maybe 5,000 baht?" No problem. Another transfer. Then, "My family's roof leaking. Rain coming in. Need to fix. Maybe 20,000 baht?" I hesitated on that one. 20,000 baht, about 500 pounds. It seemed like a lot for a roof repair, but Ayam's family was poor. Roofs in rural Thailand probably weren't built to last, and I was her husband. Helping her family was part of the deal. "Okay," I said. The requests continued, becoming more frequent, larger in amount. Her father needed medical tests, 30,000 baht. Her younger brother wanted to go to university, 50,000 baht for first semester. The family's rice harvest failed, and they needed money to buy seed for next season, 40,000 baht. Each time, Ayam would cry, say she was so sorry to ask, that she knew it was too much, but her family was desperate, and she was their only hope. And each time, I'd transfer the money. What else could I do? Let her family suffer? Prove I was the kind of man who'd married a Thai woman but wouldn't help her family in need? The other expats at the pub would have called me an idiot, but they didn't understand. This was what family meant in Thailand, taking care of each other, being responsible. By June, I'd sent roughly 50,000 pounds to Ayam's family, about 1,800,000 baht. It was making me nervous. Combined with the house purchase and furniture, I'd spent about 160,000 pounds of my 410,000 pound nest egg. I still had 250,000 pounds left, plus my pension, but the rate at which money was flowing out was alarming. I tried to talk to Ayam about it one evening. "Love, I'm happy to help your family, but we need to be careful with money. We've spent a lot in the past few months. Maybe we should slow down." She looked hurt. "You think I asked too much?" "No, I just mean we need to budget properly. Make sure we have enough for our own future." Her eyes filled with tears. "My family is dying, Mike. My mother cannot afford her medicine. My father's diabetes get worse. You want me to tell them no? Let them suffer? Because my husband think money more important than family? That's not what I'm saying. What are you saying then? That I am taking advantage? That I marry you for money?" She was crying now, her voice rising. "I work hard all my life. I never ask anyone for anything. But now my family needs help, and my husband, the man who say he loves me, he say no?" "I didn't say no." "Then what you say?" I felt horrible. I'd hurt her, made her feel like I didn't care about her family. like I was some stingy foreigner who'd married her but wouldn't honor the responsibilities that came with it. "I'm sorry," I said. "You're right. Of course we should help your family. I just worry sometimes, that's all." She hugged me, crying into my shoulder. I know. I am sorry too. I don't want to ask you for money all the time. I feel terrible about it. But my family, they have no one else. Only me. Only us." "It's okay," I said, stroking her hair. "We'll figure it out together." But the requests didn't stop. And in August, Aom brought up the biggest request yet. "Mike, I want to talk to you about something important," Aom said one evening. We were sitting in our garden, drinking tea, watching the sunset paint the sky orange and pink. "What is it?" She took a breath, like she was gathering courage. "You know, I always dream of having my own salon, yes?" "Yes, you've mentioned it. I find perfect location. Small shop in Jomtien, near Beach Road, good foot traffic. Owner want to sell because he moving to Bangkok. Is good price, 2 million baht for shop, include all equipment, chairs, mirrors, everything. I could open immediately, start making money. 2 million baht, about 48,000 pounds. My stomach dropped. That's a lot of money, Aom. I know, but Mike, think about it. Right now, I don't work. I stay home, take care of house, but I don't make income. If I have salon, I can work again, make money, help with our expenses. We don't have to rely only on your pension." She had a point. My pension was 2,100 pounds a month, about 76,000 baht. After rent at the old apartment, utilities, food, and the constant transfers to her family, we were barely breaking even. If Aom could generate income, it would ease the financial pressure. "And you're sure this is a good investment?" I asked. "Yes. Location is perfect. Many expat wives go there for hair, many Thai women too. I work salon before I know this business. I can make it successful. Have you looked at the numbers? How much you'd need to earn to make it profitable?" She pulled out a notebook she'd done homework. Revenue projections, expense estimates, break-even analysis. It looked reasonable on paper. If she charged normal salon rates and had decent traffic, she could make 50 to 60,000 baht a month profit. That would significantly help our finances. "Okay," I said, "but I want to see the shop first and talk to the owner, make sure everything is legitimate." Her face lit up. "Really? You will help me? If the numbers make sense, yes." We visited the shop the next day. It was small but in a good location, right on a busy swai in Jomtien. The equipment looked decent, 6 styling chairs, wash basins, dryers, all the tools needed. The owner, a Thai man in his 40s, seemed legitimate. He showed us invoices, rental agreements, business licenses. Aom talked to him rapidly in Thai, while I stood there understanding nothing but trying to assess his body language, his honesty. "What do you think?" Aom asked after we left. "It seems okay," I said cautiously, "but I want to have a lawyer look at the paperwork before we commit to anything." "Lawyer?" She looked worried. "Mike, that will cost money. And the owner says he has other people interested. If we don't decide soon, we lose it. If it's a good deal, he can wait a few days while we do proper due diligence." She was quiet on the drive home. That evening, she barely spoke to me. The next morning at breakfast, she was crying. "What's wrong?" I asked. "I talked to the shop owner yesterday evening. He says someone else made offer higher than asking price. He will sell to them if we don't decide by tomorrow." She wiped her eyes. "I understand if you don't trust me enough. I understand if you think I am trying to trick you. I know what other Faring think about Thai women. Aom, I don't think that. Then why you need lawyer? Why you cannot trust me? I am your wife, Mike. Your wife. Do I need lawyer to trust you?" She had me there. If I didn't trust her enough to do this deal, what did that say about our marriage? And yes, I'd heard the warnings from other expats about business scams, about fake investments, but this seemed real. I'd seen the shop. I'd met the owner. The paperwork looked legitimate. Maybe I was being paranoid. "Okay," I said. "Okay, let's do it. But we do it properly, contracts, everything documented." She threw her arms around me. "Thank you, Mike, thank you. I will make this work, I promise. I will work so hard. You will see. This will be good for us." The purchase took a week. I transferred 2 million baht, about 48,000 pounds, from my UK account to Aom's Thai account. She handled the paperwork with the owner, came home with contracts and receipts, showed me the business license being transferred to her name. The shop was officially hers. But then she said she needed more money. Mike, I need to renovate, make it modern, clean, buy new products, shampoo, conditioner, color treatments, hire staff. I cannot do everything myself. I need maybe another 800,000 baht to start properly. Another 800,000 baht. Another 19,000 pounds. We'd already spent so much. But she was right, you couldn't open a salon with old equipment and no supplies. And this was an investment in our future. Okay, I said, feeling the weight of each transfer. But this is the last. After this, the salon needs to support itself. Yes, of course. This is last. I promise. I transferred the money. Ayam spent the next month renovating the salon, though I noticed she was rarely there when I'd stop by to check progress. She'd always have an excuse. I was meeting supplier, or I was at market buying products, or I was interviewing staff. The renovations seemed slow. The shop looked much the same every time I visited. When are you opening? I asked in late September. Soon. Just few more things to finish. Maybe 2 weeks. But 2 weeks came and went with no opening. I'd ask about it, and Aom would get irritated. You don't understand Thai business, Mike. Things take time here. Not like England where everything fast. You must be patient. By October, I'd transferred a total of 240,000 pounds to Aom over the course of our relationship, nearly 60% of my retirement fund. The house was in her name. The salon was in her name. I had 170,000 pounds left, plus my pension. I was starting to feel genuinely worried, not just about money, but about Aom herself. She'd changed over the past months. The warm, attentive woman I'd married had become distant, irritable, always on her phone, often gone for hours with vague explanations. She stopped cooking for me, stopped being affectionate, would snap at me when I asked questions. One evening in late October, I tried to talk to her about it. Aom, is everything okay? You seem unhappy. I'm fine, she said curtly, not looking up from her phone. Is it the salon? Is there a problem with the business? No problem. Why you always ask so many questions? Because I'm your husband, and I care about you, and I'm worried. She looked at me then, and for a moment I saw something in her eyes I'd never seen before. Contempt. Cold, dismissive contempt. It was gone in a flash, replaced by her usual expression. But I'd seen it, and it chilled me to the bone. I'm going to stay with my friend tonight, she said, standing up. I need some space. What friend? Aom, what's going on? Nothing is going on. I just need space. Is that okay with you, or do you need to give permission for everything I do? She left, didn't come back that night, or the next night, or the night after that. When she finally returned on the 4th day, she acted like nothing had happened. Sorry, my friend needed help. Family emergency. Is all okay now? I didn't believe her. But what could I do? Accuse her of lying? Demand to know where she'd been? We'd been married less than a year, and already I felt like I was walking on eggshells, afraid to upset her, afraid to lose her. In early November, Aom said she needed to visit her family in Buriram. My mother is very sick. I need to go help her. Maybe 1 week. I'll come with you. I said, no. She said it too quickly, too forcefully. I mean, is better I go alone. My mother's house very small, uncomfortable for you. And my family, they speak no English. You will be bored. Better you stay here, take care of house. Every instinct told me something was wrong, but I also didn't want to be the controlling husband who wouldn't let his wife visit her sick mother. Okay, I said, but call me every day, yeah? Of course. She kissed my cheek, the first affection she'd shown in weeks. I love you, Mike. Thank you for understanding. She left on a Tuesday morning. Called me that evening, briefly, saying she'd arrived safely. Called Wednesday evening, even more briefly. Thursday, no call. Friday, no call. I tried calling her. Straight to voicemail. I sent line messages. No response. By Saturday, I was panicking. I called her friend whose number I had from Aom's phone. The friend spoke limited English, but enough to understand my question. Where is Aom? I asked. I don't know, the friend said, sounding confused. She not here, but she said she was staying with you last month when she needed space. Long pause. I no see Aom for many months. She not come to my house. My blood ran cold. Okay, thank you. I hung up. On Monday morning, when Aom still hadn't returned or responded to messages, I went to the salon. It was closed. The windows were dark. I peered through the glass. The interior looked bare. The styling chairs were gone. The mirrors were gone. The equipment all gone. Just empty walls and dusty floors. I felt my legs weaken. I sat down on the curb outside the shop, staring at the empty space where my 48,000 pounds had supposedly gone. The shop next door was open, a small convenience store. I went in and asked the owner, in broken Thai supplemented with Google Translate, about the salon. The owner, a middle-aged Thai woman, looked at me with pity. "Salon owner take everything last week," she said in English. "She say she moving. She sell all equipment. She have truck come, take everything away." "Did you see where she went?" The woman shook her head. "Sorry, I don't know. Many people come, go in Jomtien. I don't ask questions." I drove home in a daze, called Aom's phone disconnected, called her family's number that she'd given me disconnected, tried her old workplace. They said she hadn't worked there in over a year, had quit long before I'd met her. When I pulled up to the house, my house, except it wasn't mine, it was hers, I had a terrible premonition. I unlocked the front door and stepped inside. Empty. Completely, utterly empty. That's when this story began, me standing in an empty house, calling her name, discovering that everything we'd built together was a lie. The furniture, the television, the appliances, even the plants from the garden, all gone, loaded into trucks and taken away while I'd been sleeping alone, waiting for her to come home. The neighbors told me what they'd seen. A truck on Monday, another on Tuesday, Aom directing workers, loading everything efficiently, like she'd done it before, and a man with her, a foreign man, older, Western. "She call him husband," one neighbor said. "Say they moving to new house in Bangkok." I went to the police, showed them my marriage certificate, my bank statements, photos of us together, explained that my wife had taken everything, the furniture, the business, the money, and disappeared. The police officer, a young man who spoke decent English, listened patiently. Then he said something that destroyed whatever remaining hope I had. "You give her money?" "Yes, but she's my wife. We were building a life together. House is in her name." "Yes, because I'm a foreigner. Thai law says business is in her name." "Yes, but..." He shook his head. "This is not crime, sir. You are married. You give wife money, this is normal. You buy house in wife's name, this is Thai law. She take furniture from house that is legally her house, this is her right. Cannot make police report." But she lied. She scammed me. The salon was fake. The family emergencies were fake. Everything was fake. "You have proof of lie? Contract that say she must do something and she don't do it?" I didn't. Everything had been verbal agreements. Trust between husband and wife. I'd been so fucking stupid. "I'm sorry, sir," the officer said, and he did look sorry. "Many Farang have this problem in Pattaya. Thai woman marry Farang, take money, disappear. Is civil matter, not police matter. You must hire lawyer, try to file divorce and claim money back in civil court, but is very difficult, very expensive. Usually, money is gone." I left the police station feeling hollow. I hired a lawyer, a Thai-British man who'd handled cases like mine before. He confirmed what the police had said. I had almost no legal recourse. The house was legally Aom's. The money I'd transferred was legally gifts to my wife. The salon had been her business, not mine. Even if I could prove fraud, which would be nearly impossible, Aom had disappeared. No current phone number, no address, no way to serve legal papers. "How much did you lose?" the lawyer asked. "About 240,000 pounds. He winced. "I'm sorry, Mr. Dawson. I've seen this exact scam dozens of times. Usually it's Pattaya bar girls, but sometimes it's women who seem more legitimate: hairdressers, shop workers, students. They're patient. They marry you, build trust, take everything slowly so you don't realize what's happening until it's too late. Can we find her? We can try. But these women usually operate in networks. They change names, change locations, move on to the next target. Even if we find her, getting money back is almost impossible. Thai courts favor Thai nationals, especially in marital disputes, and the money is probably long gone spent or sent to accomplices. I paid him 2,000 pounds to investigate anyway, because I needed to know. He came back 3 weeks later with a report that gutted me. Aom, if that was even her real name, had done this at least 4 times before. An Australian man in 2018 lost 100,000 Australian dollars. A British man in 2019 lost 70,000 pounds. An American in 2020 lost $90,000. And a Swedish man in 2021 lost 800,000 kronor. All the same: pattern, romance, quick marriage, house purchase, business investment, gradual asset stripping, disappearance. The friend at the barber shop where I'd met her, part of the setup. The shop owner who'd sold her the salon, her accomplice, they'd done the same fake business sale multiple times. The family in Buriram probably didn't exist, or weren't actually her family. Everything had been scripted, rehearsed, perfected through repetition. The investigator found her on Facebook under a different name, photos of her in expensive clothes, at luxury resorts, in a new car. In one photo, she was with another older Western man, both of them smiling at the camera. The caption, translated from Thai: "New chapter, new blessings." I stared at that photo for hours. The woman in it looked like Ayam, same face, same smile, but the warmth I'd seen in her eyes was absent. She looked like what she was: a professional, a predator. Someone who'd looked at me and seen not a husband, not a partner, not a human being, but a paycheck, a mark, a stupid, lonely old man ripe for exploitation. The house was in her name. I had no claim to it. I had to move out. With my remaining money and pension, I could afford a small apartment in Jomtien, a single room with shared bathroom. Nothing like the villa we'd shared. My retirement fund of £410,000 was down to about $140,000. My dream of a peaceful retirement in Thailand had become a nightmare of poverty and shame. The expat community tried to help. Duncan, the Scottish bloke who'd warned me, didn't say, "I told you so," which I appreciated. He helped me find the cheap apartment, introduced me to other expats who'd been scammed, invited me to join a support group of sorts where men shared their stories and tried to rebuild their lives. "It's not your fault," Duncan told me over beers one evening. "They're professionals. They know exactly what buttons to push. You're not stupid. You're human. You wanted love. That's not a crime." But it felt like a crime. It felt like I'd betrayed my younger self, the careful electrician who never took unnecessary risks, who always checked connections twice, who lived by the rule book, that Mike Dawson would never have done something so reckless. But that Mike Dawson had also been invisible to his wife for 30 years, had retired alone, had been so desperate for warmth that he'd ignored every warning sign. I started volunteering with a group that helped new expats navigate Thailand, warning them about common scams, advising them about property laws, sharing my story as a cautionary tale. It was painful to relive it, but if my suffering could prevent even one person from making my mistakes, it was worth it. The hardest part wasn't the money. Money is just paper, numbers in a computer. The hardest part was the betrayal of hope itself. I'd allowed myself to believe that at 64, after a failed marriage and a lifetime of loneliness, I could still find happiness, that someone could see value in me beyond my bank account, that I could build something meaningful in my final years. Aom, or whoever she really was, had taken that hope and weaponized it. Every smile had been calculated. Every touch had been transactional. Every "I love you" had been a lie told in service of theft. She hadn't just stolen my money. She'd stolen my ability to trust, to hope, to believe in human connection. It's been nearly 2 years since Aom disappeared. I'm 66 now, living in a single room in Jomtien, surviving on my pension and what's left of my savings. The room is hot, cramped, loud neighbors arguing through thin walls, motorbikes roaring past at all hours, the constant smell of fish sauce from the restaurant below. It's not the retirement I'd imagined. I spend my days helping other expats avoid my mistakes. At the weekly meetups, when new retirees arrive bright-eyed and hopeful, I tell them my story. I see their faces change as they realize how easily it could happen to them. Some thank me. Some argue that their situation is different, their girlfriend is different. I recognize that defensive tone. It's the same one I used when Duncan tried to warn me. I don't judge them. I just share what I learned, that the scam doesn't look like a scam. It looks like love, like partnership, like opportunity. The person scamming you doesn't act suspicious or greedy. They act exactly like someone who genuinely cares about you. That's what makes it devastating. I think about Aom sometimes, wonder where she is, who she's with, whether she ever thinks about me. Probably not. I was just another job, another payday, Another stupid British man who thought he could buy companionship in Thailand. She's likely moved on, playing the same role with someone else, wearing the same mask of affection. I hope that man is smarter than I was, that he sees through the performance, that he keeps his money safe. But I know he probably won't, because the scam is too good, too emotionally resonant. It promises everything lonely men want: warmth, companionship, purpose, love, and humans, when confronted with the possibility of not being alone anymore, will believe almost anything. The other day, I walked past the house, my house, except it was never mine. There was a new family living there, Thai people, with children playing in the garden where Aom and I had planted flowers. The house looked happy, lived in, loved. It hurt to see it, but it also made me feel less like a complete failure. At least the house was serving its purpose for someone. Duncan asked me recently if I'd ever consider dating again, maybe trying to find someone genuine. I laughed, actually laughed. No, I said, that part of my life is over. You're only 66, Mike. You could have another 20 years. Yeah, well, I'll spend them alone. It's safer that way. He didn't argue. He understood. Once you've been betrayed that completely, trust becomes impossible. Every smile looks like manipulation. Every kindness looks like setup. Every expression of affection looks like the opening move in a con. You can't live like that and also open yourself to love. You have to choose. I chose safety. If I could give one piece of advice to men considering retirement in Thailand or anywhere in Southeast Asia, it would be this. Come for the weather, the food, the culture, the affordable living, but don't come looking for love. Don't believe that a younger woman from a poor country is falling for your personality when you have money, and she doesn't. Don't mistake loneliness for wisdom or desperation for intuition. And if you do fall in love despite all warnings, protect yourself legally. Get lawyers, get contracts, get everything in writing. Don't let trust and love be excuses for financial recklessness. Because when it goes wrong, and it usually does go wrong, you'll be the one left with nothing while they move on to their next target. I worked 43 years as an electrician, saved carefully, lived modestly, retired with £410,000, lost $240,000 of it in 18 months because I was lonely, and a woman smiled at me and made me feel seen. The math of that, the exchange rate of decades to months, of work to theft, of hope to despair, still doesn't make sense. Maybe it never will. I live in a single room now. I eat cheap street food. I help other expats avoid my mistakes. And sometimes, late at night when the city finally quiets down, I lie on my thin mattress and remember what it felt like to believe I could be loved. That memory hurts more than all the lost money combined. She didn't just steal my savings. She took my belief in people, and I'll never get that back. Thank you for watching. If Mike's story has opened your eyes to these devastating romance scams, please subscribe to this channel. Every story shared is a warning that could save someone else from the same fate. Your support helps me continue investigating and sharing these important cautionary tales. Stay safe out there, and remember, in Thailand, as anywhere else, if something seems too good to be true, it probably is.